What's up, Profits? It is the formula here with episode 2 of Derby Talk, and my episode has been hijacked because El Hombre and Riders Up Tim are in with me, and I can do nothing about it. I can't kick them out. I have no control over the situation, so I'm just going to have to deal with it. Hombre, Tim, how you guys doing?
Hey, listen. I should have probably warned you on this before we started.
Yeah.
A tightrope walker is more exciting without a net, and you clearly brought the net in tonight because you felt like you needed some support. I understand, but a lot of people want to watch you walk that tightrope with no net, and Sorry, here we are.
And that's what's going to happen.
Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. By the way, go Lions. Guys out in Chicago. I'm down here in South Carolina.
What's this?
We are hometown fans of the best team in the NFL for the first time in our 400-year lifetimes. Let's go, baby. Anyway.
Representing in other states. Tim, how's it going on your end?
Going great, but I feel like I was hoodwinked into coming in here because this is Derby Talk. I thought for sure somebody said Dirty Talk.
We'll be talking more about Jahmyr Gibbs in a second here. Just kidding. So let's go through it. I've got a standard here that I have to set. I've got my AI image of the week. I asked Gemini AI, give me an image of what happens when you single IRAD on a 6-5 on a Thursday race. And this is what it presented me. I don't know what that means. Maybe you guys can explain it to me. But let's go through the schedule here. Let's go through
a historic ending to that. I know if you're not a Lions fan, you probably didn't watch this game because nobody's a Bears fan. The AIDS virus of the NFL.
It's not the first time Eberflus has left timeouts.
He is.
In the pocket.
I'm sitting there with my family on Thanksgiving Day saying that guy's going to be fired in the morning, and he was. And I look like a genius because I was sitting there going, "There's no way he can survive this." He looks
because it's like the fourth time it's happened to him. But anyway,
we're gonna go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to be talking through the topics here, the schedule, the Derby prep schedule, what's coming up, what's been happening. Got my power rankings. Unfortunately, I can't just sit here and talk through my power rankings because I've got like these two numbskulls here that are going to be poking at my power rankings, telling me where I went wrong and telling me what I did incorrectly. But no, that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. We're going to be talking about recent races, taking a look through who won recently, what horses of interest are popping up, maybe some horses that are on the Derby trail, maybe not, but we'll be talking about those. And then the upcoming races, especially Remsen, which is coming up this weekend. 7 horses in that race. We want to give that some talking through because, we've had some Derby horses coming out of that. Not Derby winners recently, but we've had some horses competing in the Derby at a pretty high level coming out of that race. And let me remind you, 150 days till the Kentucky Derby as of when we're recording this. Gentlemen, it's a good day when we can be counting down towards the Derby, isn't it?
Absolutely. And there's going to be some pushback, by the way. The one dude on Twitter, I can't think of his handle right now, but he always gives us why are we talking about this already? You guys are idiots. You know what? Because it's fun, guy.
It is totally fun.
It's fun. Why do you talk about the Super Bowl in week 4 in the NFL? Because it's fun.
Half the fun of the Derby is
have fun, brother.
Is the build up for it, right? All these Derby prep races themselves are entertaining and fun, and we get ourselves wound up about which horse we think is best, and I think it's great. Moving on. Derby prep from 2024, so we can look through this again, the most recent. We'll be talking about this in a second. Kentucky Jockey Club was won by First Resort, a little bit of a surprise there. We've talked already about Citizen Bull, Sovereignty, Chancellor McPatrick, East Avenue, Citizen Bull again, and Jonathan's Way as we go up. We got 4 more races coming up. I didn't talk about the Springboard Mile. It's not as big of a race. Definitely going to be focusing more on Remsen and a couple other races. And then we've got Los Alamitos.
Why are you blowing right past California racing? I mean, they're in good shape. Everything seems to be going well out there.
Yeah, everything's just fine.
Real healthy.
This is fine. And then Gunrunner in the fairgrounds as we head towards Christmas. And then we look to 2025. We got loads of races here. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this.
Are we doing a tour de force, by the way, guys? What are we doing here?
I'm asking you that question.
How do we not? How do we not? You have to do a tour de force.
It usually kicks off right around, let's see, LeCompte.
LeCompte is when it kicks off.
Yep.
I think you have to bring it off. So, Hombre, you have to bring it back because I'm bringing sexy back. And what's more sexy than tour de force?
Nothing.
Nothing.
It'll be season 7, baby. And listen, it's been a fun ride, but we'll work through this. We'll make it
People
happen.
want it. If you want it, say
The
it in the
people are,
comment
I get
section.
DMs every day, and I haven't been on Twitter in 17 months.
Put it in the comment section, baby. Okay, so here's my power rankings. So Citizen Bull sits on top. Why? Because he's the BC Juvenile winner, and until otherwise stated, he will sit on top. He's got to be defeated. This is an El Hombre rule, right? So I'm
Yes.
sticking to that rule at least for a little
I
while.
think it's a fair rule, guys.
It is a fair rule because there's no bigger race for like what 2 months probably
Innocent until proven guilty. If you win that Breeders' Cup,
until you get into those
You're the guy.
state level derbies, or if
you're
that
the
horse
guy.
doesn't
You're the
run
guy
in Santa
until you're
Anita.
proven to be not the guy.
Yeah.
That's
East
it.
Avenue, who a lot
Every
of us love, the Brendan Walsh horse that won the Claiborne Futurity. Riders Up
Love,
Tim,
love.
probably the biggest East Avenue fan here. Gaming, which was a horse that I was a big fan of. Sovereignty, I've got him probably a little bit higher than some people have him. Winner of the Street Sense, a G3, but I really like the race that he ran there. Plus, I like the Bill Mott into Mischief combo. Sacrosanct, coming from Brad Cox, winner of the Sleepy Hollow, also undefeated so far in 3 races. Patch Adams, a horse that, okay, I'm going to go out on a limb on this horse. This is, everyone's got their horse that they want to move up the list a little bit higher than it probably should be based on the wins that it has, and that for me is Patch Adams. Rated by merit, 4 for 4 at GP so far, but you can probably take a look at those races, pick at each one of them, but at the same time, he's won all 4 of them. First Resort, winner of the Kentucky Jockey Club, just recently. Ferocious, talked about him quite a bit. Gustavo Delgado is saying that this is probably the best horse that he's had since, Mage? Barnes, who was a big $3 million Baffert horse, got his maiden special weight win recently. Showcase coming from Todd Pletcher, who's a horse that's on the shelf along with Tip Top Thomas. I haven't seen any workouts from them in a while. So they're on the list, but I got them deeper down than I would normally have them. If they were working out, might have them a little bit higher, but I want to make sure that they're doing something before I push them up too far. Jonathan's Way, fallen down on the list. He was the winner of the Iroquois, but again, didn't win the Kentucky Jockey Club, didn't look so great in the BC Juvenile. So he's down to 13 on my list. And Bullard, winner of the Bob Hope, not that I put a lot of stake in that, but he comes from Gunrunner. Michael McCarthy, he got the win. So that's enough to win 15th on my list. Guys, what do you think of this list? Who's your number one, and who do you like that's crawling up the list? Riders Up Tim, I'll go to you first.
Well, you said it. You said it right up front. East Avenue is the one that I've still got at the top. Citizen Bull, yeah. Okay, won the juvenile. I get why we say that, but look, it's been 9 years since any horse from the juvenile has won the Derby. I'm not sure that this is the one that's going to do that. Normally, the horse that wins that race, you can typically fade. East Avenue is the one horse in that race. Going into the race, I was high on the horse, but East Avenue is the one horse you can look at and give an excuse. Went to his knees coming out of the gate and had every excuse based on the pace to finish how he finished. So he's the one horse when you look at him that I still think he's legit, and he's going to be right there in the preps. The horse I've got moving up, you said it already. I'm going to go with you. Patch Adams. Love that race at Churchill. Let me tell you, that 7 furlong race, if you go back and look at that race that they ran, that was a really strong race. Jockey basically just sat in the saddle a little bit and gave the horse one tap. He accelerated a little bit. He didn't hit the horse again. As a matter of fact, if you look, they're like geared down, like way before the line. And he's just an easy 5-6 lengths in front of everybody. And that horse had some serious acceleration that I thought is, as he stretches out to 2 turns, this is a horse I'm really high on.
I get chills thinking of Patch Adams. I mean, that's a horse I'm getting excited about because it's only his maiden. I didn't want to put him any higher.
Nobody's ever said that statement before.
I got chills thinking of Patch Adams.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ.
You had to cut gifts from Robin Williams and a clown.
Somebody clip that, put it on fucking TikTok or whatever.
Hombre, you're taking the floor. Go ahead and take it.
It's embarrassing. Listen, I'm with you guys. Patch Adams, great horse, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I get chills because shout out to cocaine, by the way, for Patch Adams. The drug cocaine, I'm famed for bringing up Cocaine Bear, the famed horse of the past. But now I'm bringing up Patch Adams, maybe the Cocaine Bear of the 2025 season. based on the fact that Robin Williams, who played Patch Adams, am I wrong?
No, you are right.
Biggest cokehead in the history of comedy. So shout out Bobby Williams, starring as Patch Adams, the biggest cocaine. I feel a connection. And by the way, Into Mischief with my favorite trainer, Bradley J. Cox. Fucking let's go. I love Patch Adams too. We're all on the same page.
Interesting.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah, I'm with you. Bob
You're with me.
Baffert
Okay.
can eat a dick with all his horses here. I'm sorry.
Got to
I just
list
wanted
them.
to send a couple shout outs. Patch Adams, I wanted to send a shout out to Cocaine, first of all, which I already did.
Yeah.
Another shout out to Bob Baffert, staying out of the spotlight, mixing it up with our guy, what's his name, Swifty or whatever the fuck his name is.
You don't have to bring that up.
Horse racing, not horse racing Twitter, but horse racing trash Swift hitter.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Fine.
Since you
Whatever.
brought it up,
Shout out.
I gotta do this.
Shout out to the back.
Love to see it. Love to see it. See it.
You said cocaine, so Jim Irsay gets a shout out as well, right?
Hey,
Yeah.
I just have to say one thing though quickly about Patch Adams. Can we keep Colin off of Patch Adams?
Ooh,
we do what?
Yes,
Keep him-
because he's
don't
just
let,
going to
don't
jinx
let him
it.
get on Patch Adams because
Yes.
the horse he's like the last 2 years.
Oh, what are you talking about, bro? Tap it Trice?
No.
No.
Locked last
Locked.
year.
Oh, Colin.
Colin.
Oh,
Colin.
God. I thought you said me. I was going to say, no.
No, no.
I'm okay.
No,
I was
Colin.
Mr. Dan guy last year, if you
And
forgot.
before that, Loggins. We
Colin.
need to get him a Todd Pletcher horse that's going to
Yeah,
be
get-
put in the
get Colin
infirmary.
involved in something stupid here.
Yeah, so
Answer McPatrick.
Showcase and Tip Top Thomas are right there for Colin.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
are perfect
Colin-
horses for him.
Colin's, listen, here's what you do when you hear Colin's attitude.
Yeah.
Just run. Run for the hills, flip the coin. Even if you like the horse that Colin likes, it's over right then and there. Sorry. It's like if you fall in love with a girl and then all of a sudden you see that she's with some other guy or something, you're like, God damn, he's a fucking loser. You know, you got to go a different direction. That's Colin. All right.
Wow.
So let me talk about something real quick, though. On this, your formula rankings, I noticed Citizen Bull sitting at 16-1. I think he's like the fourth or fifth highest ranked in terms of the Vegas future odds.
Okay. Caesars, right?
I don't know where they came from. It was like
Okay.
the most. It was the second futures odds.
yeah,
Generation.
the Kentucky Derby Futures pool number 2, which just closed
pool
out
number
this
2,
past.
exactly.
It was this past weekend.
Oh,
I've got
okay.
the odds
Oh,
in front of me.
Barnes is the current favorite at 13-1. Okay, and that's you have him at 11, which I feel is fair. What are we doing? First of all, it's the Baffert effect. Okay, that's why he's number 1, which I can't blame you because every year we showed up the Derby. If you forgot the "'Tis the Law" authentic thing, that was like that whole thing came to fruition for me. Like "'Tis the Law." This is what 2019, 2020. And it was like this is
2020.
where
This was COVID. Yeah.
2020, whatever.
2020.
This is where I was like, there's no chance that "'Tis the Law" is going to be beaten by authentic. I don't think authentic was Baffert's number 1 that year. If I'm wrong.
No, he wasn't.
Correct me, but it was just like you can't
Life
beat
is-
that guy
that
at the
Life
big
is
money
Good?
races, huh?
Was that the year Life is Good started to fade with Baffert's?
I don't even know if life is good. Maybe
Every
not
year he
maybe
has
good.
one horse that looks like the best horse.
Yeah.
And then that horse gets injured, and then all of a sudden he's running the second horse like Medina Spirit.
or they get
and then you're
injured,
like, oh,
or they
it's the
get
second
hidden
horse.
behind a drug test or whatever.
Yeah. Oh no, it was
But,
Charlatan. That's what it was.
Oh, he had that.
Charlatan and
five
Nadal,
great-
and then he had Authentic.
Yeah,
I'm sure the comment
authentic was
section will
like
clean this
fourth
up,
horse. Anyway,
Yeah.
there's no chance. But Baffert, let's face it, folks. Again, the fringe fans, we have us nerds in the trenches. We don't give a shit about Baffert. We actually probably stray away from him, if anything. But the fringe fans who watch this game 2 or 3
Yeah.
times a year, that's who's driving that Vegas money. So Vegas to call Barnes, the Bob Baffert horse, Into Mischief, the best sire in the game, the number
Yeah.
1. I get it. I agree with you guys. I don't think it's even close, but fine. I would say I'm right there with you. I hate to follow script here, but I'm definitely more in like on a horse like Patch Adams,
Yeah.
a horse like let's see, even like Bullard, or I mean, Sovereignty, any of those horses.
Yeah.
I'll take them over East Avenue right there. I mean,
East Avenue is a good one. Yeah.
you got 2 or 3 up there that I would put before. I mean, Barnes is in the mix for sure. But first of all, to bet any of those at the odds I just mentioned, forget about it. That's wasting your money.
At this point last year, a lot of us thought Nisos was the next big thing too.
Right.
And we haven't seen him in a race since I don't know when. Probably Bob
Remember when
Hope,
Cowan
2023.
didn't sell? Remember when Cowan didn't sell whatever it was on
Locked. Locked who's running in the Cigar Mile.
or was
this
it
week.
Muth?
No, it was Locked. He had Locked. Todd Pletcher.
We won't mention anything, none of the details there, but
Too painful.
He took
Too
a
painful.
gamble.
Let's
He took
move
a
on.
gamble.
Moving on.
along.
So the Kentucky Jockey Club, a lot of people thought that Jonathan's Way was definitely going to be the horse to win this. He went off less than 1-to-1 odds, came in second place by 2 lengths. First Resort was the one that actually sealed the deal here. Owen Hardy, the trainer on First Resort with Louis Saez. Right, he was pushing the pace most of the way, took over at the 3/4 mark, and then, never saw a challenge after that. Jonathan's Way was still quite a ways behind there. Anyone got a thought on this race? I know, Tim, you thought that Jonathan's Way, you really liked him after the Iroquois. I think a lot of us looked at the Iroquois and thought, ooh, this is going to be a solid horse. But do you feel a drop off here, or do you feel like there's still some maturation?
I did going into the Kentucky Jockey Club. I was totally fading Jonathan's Way in that race because
Were you?
looking,
Okay.
I was looking at the Iroquois. I thought that the horse may be something, but after looking at the juvenile, I determined that this horse is a sprinter. This horse is a sprinter, doesn't want any part of 2 turns, and I think kind of proved that again in the Jockey Club. It even though that's a second place finish, this was in a stellar field. And I did not like Jonathan's Way much at all in here. The horse I did like a little bit more than First Resort. Didn't do too well, but actually closed up and I think just hit traffic problems. And that was the 9 Render Judgment. That's a horse I'm going to still keep an eye on.
Yeah.
I like that horse a little bit. So we'll see how that horse continues to do as we get into the preps, because remember, it is early and the horse that typically is going to, be the ones that we're really talking about come the first Saturday in May, they're probably not even winning races yet. And we're not even in the conversation a lot of times. That's why if you look at the Kentucky Derby futures, actually Barnes is the second choice. The first choice is all others at 9 to 5.
Yep. Field
Everyone
bet,
not
9
listed.
to 5. Exactly. That was my next point, bro. That was exactly what was going to be my closing point on the Kentucky Jockey Club thought. 9 to 5 on the field. And they list like 50 or 75 horses or something. And it's still best to bet any of the horses that are not in the top 75.
Yeah.
It tells you how much of a long shot to bet the Derby is now. Now, if you want to put $20 on it or something, if maybe your $20 is 100 or maybe it's $1.
Yeah.
If you want to do
$2.
that for fun because you have a feeling on something, great. Go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Patch Adams at 22 to 1 might be interesting for a little futures bet.
For sure.
I wouldn't even do that. It's crazy. I think you can probably get close to that on Derby Day, but we'll talk about that later.
All right.
I have no thoughts on that race. I mean, Jonathan's Way was a heavy favorite.
And now we're moving past it.
I don't think the pedigree's there for the distance. I mean, it's just
we see these horses all the time,
all
right?
the time. Every year, these horses that have the blistering times, and then it's like, can they do a mile and an 8? Can they do a
You
mile
win the Iroquois like West Saratoga, and then you really never hear from them again. Not a whole lot. Let's take a look at some Kentucky Jockey Club winners, right? So last year we had Anna Marie.
Good point.
So looking at the past,
early season prep races. God.
Yeah, if you look at the far right column, you see where all of these horses ended up in terms of the Kentucky Derby. NA means they weren't even entered in, or they weren't in the Derby. Maybe they were scratched. I tried to shout out where they were
Coffee
scratched.
was the sexual fucking bet a couple years ago.
Yeah, in January, right? Yeah, Instant Coffee. But you see here, I also
even money if I remember. That was such a big favorite.
Yeah. And I tried to highlight here any horse that was worse than 144.59. And so you look at that, it looks like 144 is about the cutoff where you might get an entrance into the Derby, whereas you're not even entered in at all. So Instant Coffee, for example, 145.25 wasn't even entered into the Derby. Silver Prospector, Signal Man, and Air Force, all 145 plus. not even entered into the Derby. All these other horses were entered in. No one did better than 6. That was Keep Me in Mind of all horses.
Yeah, Keep Me in Mind.
Yeah,
Big
remember
time
him.
closer. Yep.
Diodoro, exactly. So these were some horses that were hitting 144. The best one here, Smile Happy at 143.94, which was a horse I was extremely high on at the time, and then he sort of disappeared. You were as well, right?
Mhm.
And that's a time that actually First Resort is pretty close to it, 144.03. He's got the second best time out of all these. So that makes me think that maybe First Resort has enough to stick around to be a Derby horse. I'm not saying he's a Derby winner by any stretch of the imagination, but he may be one of these horses that from the Kentucky Jockey Club could stick around.
Not a whole lot of Derby winners there, huh? Okay.
I mean, there's
We'll
no Derby
forward.
winners in the last 10 years. Exactly. So moving on, let's talk about Patch Adams. So Patch Adams ran in his second race, his second maiden special weight race, winning by 10 lengths over Can't Stop Munnings. He went off at about 1-2, just a little bit above that. The one thing I want to draw your attention to, right? So the things I look for in maiden special weight races is the distance, right? The lengths. So here you see 10 lengths. You get really excited about that. You look up at the distance and it's 7 furlongs. You're like, okay, well, 7 furlongs. He's got a ways to go before he gets to Kentucky Derby distance. But I also want to look at time. So you look at lengths, you look at time, and you try to say, okay, well, is 120.77 good? Then I look up to the current record for the track at that distance. It's 120.44. So he was like a third of a second away in a maiden special weight race of setting the track record set by Groupie Doll 12 years ago.
Great horse.
I think that's, I mean, kudos to Patch Adams, right? I mean, this is
and
really
gear down at the end.
and gear down at the end.
Yeah, that's huge.
Probably
I thought it was interesting.
Probably could have set the track record at Churchill Downs for 7 furlongs. And this is why I keep pushing him higher. Like he's my highest maiden
P.
special
Adams,
weight.
baby.
Yeah.
What a shame it would be to have a great horse named Patch Adams, though.
Let's get those gifts rolling on Patch Adams.
Oh,
we get,
Jesus.
Robin Williams in a clown suit and a doctor's outfit.
Garbage fat stand-up comedy of Robin Williams. The guy's trash.
Oh, come on. He's not all trash.
Great actor.
His stand-up is very good.
He made
Patch
up
Adams,
Goodwill
not so
Hunting.
much.
His stand-up's garbage, bro. Come
Oh, no. I got some stand-up to show you that I think you're actually going to like.
Come on. He's trash.
Oh, yeah.
He gets up there and hoops and hollers. He's terrible.
I mean, he does. It's all about energy, but he's got some funny
Whoa,
stuff as well.
cocaine, bro. I just told you the whole thing. He's a cocaine head. Good.
Please, half the comedians you like, I guarantee they're in the booger sugar. All right? Don't even. Moving on, Burning Glory, maiden special weight winner, 120K at Churchill on December 1st. I'm calling this out because it's 1 mile. It's 120K, maiden special weight. Not a horse that really was on my radar a whole lot. He went off at 1.3 to 1. Tyler Gaffleone, Bill Mott closed out nicely because at the halfway point he was in 7th spot, and he won by a neck over the Warden. Anyone got any thoughts here on this race? Anyone else to call out?
No.
All right.
No, I don't really.
Informational only, baby.
That's it.
Let's roll. Rated by merit. This is an interesting horse. This is a horse that I want to like, but every time I dig into him, I like him a little bit less, especially in terms of Derby favoritism, right? So the last race he won here, he's winning all these black type races, a lot of these non-graded stakes races in Gulfstream. He's 4 for 4, which is impressive. He won this race by 6 lengths. So I'll do what I did again with Patch Adams. I look at that, I look at 6 lengths, and I say, hey, that's impressive. But let's take a look again, right? What was his time? 145.71. And we just talked about what we saw at the Kentucky Jockey Club where 145 was kind of like the cutoff. So already I'm looking at that thinking, okay, not so
Almost
great.
a full second.
Yeah. And current track record, 140.97. You know, he's a far cry from that. He's 5 seconds off of the current track record. We could take a look at the Kentucky Jockey Club and say, okay, well, 144, he's still nowhere near that. So he's in my list. He's in my top 15. I want to push him higher. Michael Yates, the trainer. But something tells me probably not so much for this horse, or maybe he's good in the teens and probably not moving up from there unless he really impresses us in something like the Florida Derby. Thoughts?
Tim?
I mean, these are kind of restricted races to where even though, yeah, he's 4 for 4, I just got to see him against better open company before we start talking and putting him in with some of these other horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen battalion runners showing up big in the Derby or
Yeah, Sire's another.
nor Michael
back.
Yates, and that's no disrespect to either, but I need a little history,
Yeah.
because the history repeats itself in horse racing a lot. I mean, especially with trainers and
Sires. You're right.
Yeah,
Absolutely right.
When you look at his 4 wins, 3 of them are in this Florida Sire and Reality Stakes. So it's like I've got to see the horse against open company against better horses.
check,
sure.
please.
All right. Here's what we've all been waiting for, right? So Barnes, the $3.25 million horse into mischief, Bob Baffert. Baffert takes him over to Churchill Downs. The first time he's done that since Medina Spirit. And
Before
obviously,
he murdered him. Okay, good.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of booger sugar.
Whoa.
And let's just talk about this one for a moment here. So he runs him up against Innovator and a whole bunch of other horses here. Caribbean Games, was it called? Caribbean Dreams, which was a Brad Cox horse, scratched out of this race. Was another horse that I like, but he scratched out of this race. Barnes got everything he wanted and more from Innovator. Innovator lost to him only by a head. Both these horses 10 lengths above everybody else. We look at the track record for 5 1/2 furlongs. It's 102, and they ran at 102.97. So about a second off the track record. Both of them were booking. I could have put Innovator in my top 15 as well if I put Barnes there. Obviously, we're nitpicking Barnes because he's got such a price tag on him, and he's a Bob Baffert horse. And Bob Baffert decided to send him to Churchill and not run him at Santa Anita for his first race. Guys, your thoughts on this one?
I would say this, like, again, I think it's the Baffert effect. He's getting the money because Baffert wins big races, and he has for the last 20 years, 30 years.
Yeah. It is 5 1/2.
We're months away here, but I mean, if he wins it again, would anybody be surprised? You're an idiot if you are. So that's why. I mean, I get it, but I don't think this is necessarily the horse. Because again, you mentioned Adal and a couple others in the history of Baffert, even in the last 5 years.
Charlatan, yeah.
I mean, those were his best ones.
Yeah.
Even if this is his best horse, this is not necessarily the one that's going to show up.
Yeah.
So I just tend to stray away from Baffert, probably just against the fact that I just don't like him. But
you want to see him win, so you kind of root against him, or you want to see him lose? Is what I meant.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean,
Bourbon County's getting to the brain here, guys.
But I will say he's good for the game as much as that angst everybody in the room.
Yeah, we're sure to get comments now because of all of that, because people hate that comment. But I totally agree. I said it a bunch last year. So here are my thoughts. Innovator run the better race here. Okay, give me D. Wayne Lucas on Innovator, because we all know that the coach's horses aren't ready to go early.
Yeah.
He's old school. He's going to race his horses into shape, not run them and work them out into shape like Baffert does. So, and to me, Barnes was all out to get this win at the shorter distance. And so a lot of people are going to look at this race and they're going to say Barnes wants distance. Barnes wants distance. I don't think just because a horse is closing means that the horse wants distance. I have my questions as to whether or not Barnes wants a distance based on this race. Looking at the race, I thought Barnes was all out and looked tired. But to me, I will take Innovator going forward over Barnes.
Barnes.
Interesting.
Okay.
Oh, Barnes. Shout out to 2
Michael
years
Pellerin.
ago. Michael Pellerin loves Barnes. Our buddy. Okay,
he made love to Barnes, I think, in the paddock. Good.
Ooh, easy there. Easy killer. Okay, so Remsen. Remsen's coming up. It's a G2. I like this race a lot because it's 9 furlongs. You don't see that a lot early on. There's only a couple races early on that are 9 furlongs. You see a lot of 8 1/2. You might get a lot of 8 furlong races. But yeah, this is one that really goes the distance. And we talked about, we'll show you a slide coming up next on how horses have done and rated towards the Derby. But yeah, this is a keen one. You get some Chad Brown horses mixed in here. So the horses I'm looking at, I'm not a huge fan of this field. The first one I'm saying is an interesting horse is Poster. Owen Hardy won on turf last time out, going a mile, stretched out to 3-length win. Munnings is the sire here. I believe that he did have. I think the dam came from Into Mischief or another distance horse. Maybe it was Tappet. I'm thinking of. So at least on the dam side, you've got some distance. When I see Munnings, I don't think this is a Derby horse immediately. I
No.
think we got ourselves a sprinter here.
Yeah, in fact, I eliminate them immediately.
You eliminate immediately. Interesting. I still think you could do it, but we'll see.
I mean, within reason, but yeah.
I only had him in here because I was having a hard time finding some gold medal horses to just say, okay, this one I'm shoving in. Aviator Gooey, Uncle Mo, Chad Brown started in 7th last time out at Atwood Stakes. Recovered for 4th in that one. He got bumped early on, so I think maybe this is a good recovery race for him. One where you can say, okay, he didn't do so well last race, but there's some reasons for it. Studley Do Right. This is a horse that comes from Maryland. John Robb is, I know. John Robb is the trainer here.
What are we doing?
Nyquist the sire. So got a solid sire. One of the better sires, especially for distance. First at Nashua Stakes, ran in the hopeful, but had issues early on, so didn't get a full race out of that one. I think he finished 4th or 7th. So I got him in here. Out of 7, I thought he was one of the interesting horses to note here. So guys, I'm curious to hear what you think about the rest of this field and what you think to expect with Remsen here.
Tim, you want to go or me?
Yeah, so the Remsen was a really good prep last year, and we kind of talked about this before recording today. And when you look at that, first it was a deeper field. It was a 10-horse field. You had 3 great horses in Dornoch, Sierra Leone, and Domestic Product that really put forward a good effort, and it made the race look to me better than what it was. Honestly, you had 3 horses come out of it that had great years, lots of stakes wins, lots of purse wins. So they were good. There are none of those in this field that I see, though. I just think the Remsen came up. I think the Remsen came up weak this year. I really do, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope for the sport. I'm always hoping that there's more there, something I'm not seeing, but right now I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah, there's 2 Chad Brown horses, and I could have switched one out for the other, but I wasn't really thrilled with either one, to be honest. Ombre, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I think this is a pretty weak field, as you guys both kind of alluded to, but also Studley Do Right is a fucking stupid name. Really tasteless, not funny, not fun. It's not cute. Nobody likes it. Is it supposed to be fun? Is it supposed to be funny, cute, creative, something? It's none of that.
Cute and clever is what they're going for, I believe. Yeah. Oh!
That race is.
Love to see it. Love to see it. See it.
That's a this is not. Sierra Leone's not coming out of the tunnel. Next slide, please.
Okay.
Good.
All right, guys. So here's what we got. Here's what we've seen in the Remsen in years past, and it is, like I said, it's a 9 furlong race here.
Good ones in there.
Some interesting ones, but there's a lot of NAs, right? So I cut this one off, I think, at 151. So 151 and higher are the ones that I colored in red because every horse other than Mo Donegal in that 151 or higher.
That was a mutter, though, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. I thought the same thing. I went back and looked at it. Zandon versus Mo Donegal, neck and neck, won by a nose. 153.61 was the final time, and those are 2 great horses. We look back at that and we think those are some outstanding horses that came out of that. Derby level horses. Mo Donegal finished 5th in the Derby. 153.61 is a terrible time. Yeah, Mo Donegal's a great horse. Great horse.
Dornoch's a great horse too. Underappreciated.
Dornoch's a great horse. He ran 3.5 seconds better than Mo Donegal did 2 years earlier.
That's crazy, yeah.
Dornoch got 10th. Obviously, Dornoch went on to have a great year this current year. Can't take anything away from him there. I always have a problem with this one. WNL.
Like the 3 letters, WNL.
Wow. So ran a 150.88, which you would think is good enough to get you into the Derby, but and I forgot to look up what has happened to WNL since, but I just haven't heard a whole lot from him. But you get horses like Shotsky, you get horses like Motown, Leave the Light On.
Wow, we're going
Shotsky.
There.
Yeah.
Woo.
I mean, the horses that are entered in, you got, Mohayman got 4th in the Derby, Mo Donegal got 5th. Dornoch, a lot of people say because he got 1st position in the Derby, they think that hurt him. And he went on to do better things afterwards. So a strong horse. Maximus Mischief is in there. Didn't run in the Derby, but I think he did good things after that. I want to say Catholic Board maybe as well.
Is there.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. So that's what to think of the Remsen. Not in the last 10 years, not a whole lot of Derby participation, less than the Kentucky Jockey Club, but especially last year, you started to see some good things. We lost Ombre for a moment there. It's okay. He'll catch up with us again. We'll move on. Okay, so we're moving on to some maiden special weight here. Some interesting horses that I'm calling out here. Brad Cox has a firster that's had some great workouts. He's got a couple firsters in this. I'm calling out Baobab. Mischievous Intent coming from Into Mischief. Steve Asmussen, second race out, outkicked by Sonic Skedaddle last time. And Chief Liam coming from Violence and Ken McPeak, second race out, was on the rail and hit the fence the first time. So, again, these are two horses in here, Mischievous Intent and Chief Liam, that had things go against them last time. Some physical altercations there. And those are some horses that I'm calling out. You could probably also call out Winning Campaign, but I didn't want to call out every Brad Cox horse under the sun in my comments here. Tim, did you have any thoughts on this race?
So when you look at this field, this is interesting because this is the first one that you've kind of touched on where you look at the Derby futures odds from this past weekend. And when you look at the Remsen, you've got some 99-1 shots like
Sure.
I think it was Studley Do Right is 99-1, and a couple of the Remsen fields are on there. When you look at this field and you're going to start looking at another one, here you are. This is why they've got the field at 9-5. There's not a horse in here that's on the board. And obviously somebody's going to come out of this race that's probably going to be competitive as we move into the big preps next year. So this is why this early in the stage, it's like watch these races closely for these young ones because the Derby winner we may not have seen yet.
Love to see it. Love to see it. See it.
Yeah, we do love to see it. That's right. So we're talking now about some maiden specials here. We've got a maiden special coming up on 12/7, same day as Remsen. This one is at Oak Lawn, race 10. We do have some intriguing, interesting horses in here. Baobab from Practical Joke, Brad Cox. It's a firster. He's got two firsters in this race. I didn't want to call out both of them, so I'm calling out the number 7 horse here, Baobab. Getting great workouts. You could say that about both of them, like I said, but I'm giving a slight lean to this one. Second horse I'm calling out, Mischievous Intent, Into Mischief, always a good sire. Steve Asmussen, the trainer. Second race out, he was outkicked by Sonic Skedaddle, the first time out, a horse that we saw at the Kentucky Jockey Club recently. And Chief Liam, coming from Ken McPeak, Violence, Forte's sire, second race out. Last race, he was on the rail, hit the fence the first time, so ran into some physical issues there. So those are the 3 horses that I'm calling out here. Riders up, Tim, any thoughts on this race or the maiden specials in December and Jan in general?
Yeah, the big standout for me in this race, as compared to the others that we've looked at, is that Derby futures pool that we had talked about earlier. When you look at this field, there's not a single horse there, and none of these horses. So this would be why the field is 9-5, because we're going to continue to see a lot of young 2-year-olds that are going to come into the picture, that are going to make themselves known during the big preps as we get those at the first of the year, and as the Kentucky Derby winner, there's a chance we haven't even seen that horse win yet.
That's 100%. For sure. Hombre.
Baobab, shout out Baba Booey from the Howard Stern Show. That's all I can think of when I see that stupid name. And Mischievous Intent, shout out P. Diddy. I wanted to give a shout out to P. Diddy. Oh my God. He's in a little bit of hot water right now, but listen, baby.
It's that part of the night, isn't it?
He has some mischievous intent, if anybody did. Yeah, the guy's over here drinking, swilling his 12% stout, bourbon barrel stout garbage. You love to see it.
I just want to go on record for the CIA listening that it was El Hombre that said that. I had nothing to do with it. I have no comments about Diddy.
P. Diddy loves horse racing. I'm just making the point. I'm driving it home here. That's a trash race. I think we're getting down to
trash
the
race.
Brass tacks. None of those horses are going to matter. Come on.
Oh, come on. You could say that about Mystic Dan last year. I had him in top 10 after he came out of one of these
I didn't say
races.
He was trash once. That's my guy.
All right. That was it. Thank you. That's all we got. That's all we got.
Come on,
Any final
bro.
thoughts?
I thought we had so much more.
No, this is apparently the end. It says thank you right here. It's not a thank you to you either. This is a thank you to the audience who's watching this. Thank you, by the way. And Tim. So everyone but you, hombre, this is a thank you too.
Listen to me and tell me later. I think it's been fun. It's been fun reviewing this because listen, it's way too
Yeah, yeah.
early. We realize this. For the a-holes in the comments, they're going to say, why are we talking about the Derby in December, especially December 4th? F you, that's why. Because
I
this
have
is-
your analogy. I have
Go
your
ahead.
analogy. Here's why we're talking about it. Because talking about the Derby now and enjoying this and make it last is like being with a good woman. You want that foreplay and you want that time. A lot of guys
Ooh,
just
here we
want
go,
that 2 minutes of
baby.
the Derby and they're
Turning
done.
it porno.
I don't want any of
Porno
that.
Tim. You guy's a creep.
You want to spend some time on the hand, maybe a little bit on the inside of the shoulder.
Whoa.
You know, there's some knee
Whoa.
action there as well. You got to let that linger for a while. That's what
Oof.
Tim's saying right now, I think.
Tim, sorry. Woof.
Don't swear. Oh my God.
I mean, guys.
Whew. Whew.
On that note,
Wow.
I mean, there is
That
some.
was
there
worth
is
it
a
for
little
that
bit
final
of-
comment. You guys made it up to this point. Congratulations. It was
Yeah,
worth
yeah.
it
If you're
for that.
still here, I don't know why, but
You earned it.
I mean, listen, it's been a fun preseason like always. Honestly, we don't know anything. Like I think Tiz the Law was early on board about this time that year when Authentic cheated and won, fully blown
Yeah.
on cocaine.
Yeah, Tiz the Law won the Kentucky.
I'm trying to think of the
sorry.
last time there was a
PC
horse that we kind of were on board with from the very, very beginning.
Forte.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
He got scratched.
Yeah, but I mean, like from the very and deserve that's a deserved champion though.
Yeah.
Forte was a great horse.
And goodbye.